Okay. Yeah. So, see this picture. Already it was written down. Whose picture is this? Can everyone hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Okay. So, whose picture is this?
Socrates.
Yes,
Socrates.
Socrates. It was written there. So, this is a picture of a Socrates, 470 BC, 399 BC. Why I have shown this picture is because I'll just tell you shortly. Socrates, we all know, we have heard this. He was a philosopher, educationist, and when he was young in Athens, he used to wander on the streets and he was very inquisitive. And whoever or whatever question comes to his mind, he used to ask people on the streets the questions. Okay. And so, because his father was a mason and he used to ask his father also lots of questions. And later on, with this, he discovered the method of questioning. And through this, the questioning skill is there, which we are going to learn right now. There is a saying that don't just teach your children to read, teach them to question what they read. Teach them to question everything because this is the only way children and ourselves, we also are going to learn if we have questions in our mind. Normally, it happens that we, as a teacher or parents, if children ask us question, what we do, our normal response is, I will tell you after some time. Okay, now I am busy. So this is our normal reply to them. But take care that if your children are asking question, it's a good sign, and you answer them. Next is the most effective communication is about 20% telling and 80% asking. See, normally in lecture method, of course, I know okay, in online, you all don't have any chance to speak, but that is why I have added lots of visuals and tried to make this PowerPoint very interactive. Okay. So in communication, how should be the communication? There should be 20% of telling to the students or participants and 80% of asking. Because when the students ask questions, it will be possible to give the answers and in a way they learn more. I've started recording. How can I make you? Why are you not coached? Okay, जाऊ दे मी आता recording चालू केलेलं आहे. So it is 80% of telling and 20% of asking. This is how it should be. Okay. Next is, so we understand the skill of importance of questioning, how questioning is important. Now, as a teacher, in our teacher's life or our professional life as a teacher, we all need to understand what of questioning, why of questioning, how of questioning. म्हणजे questioning म्हणजे प्रश्न कौशल्य. तर त्या प्रश्न कौशल्याबद्दल काय, कसं, किती, ओके, ह्या सगळ्या गोष्टी आपल्याला माहिती पाहिजे. स्किल ऑफ क्वेश्चनिंग. सो लेट अस लर्न टुडे the skill of questioning in our B.Ed course 108 micro teaching. That is our second skill. Questions should play a central role in learning process. Because of this, we as teachers need to plan our questions carefully. Okay, because teachers should ask a good and correct questions. I'm not saying by correct, I'm not saying that it should be grammatically correct. Of course, it has to be grammatically correct questions, but you will understand in few minutes what does the correct word means to questioning. Okay, so we need to plan our questions very carefully we need to plan or we need to place them where that question has to be. Okay, so ऐसे नहीं होना चाहिए कि जो क्वेश्चन एट द एंड ऑफ द टीचिंग होना चाहिए वो आपने पहले ही पूछ लिया. Okay, so there has to be a particular place where particular question has to be asked. So let us see everything about questioning skill. Now, purpose of questioning skill is what? It is one of the important teaching skills to establish cognitive and affective rapport with the learners. Now, I know that Professor Nilima Kamlu madam has taught you Bloom's taxonomy, and she has taught you cognitive and affective domain. Okay, so cognitive is nothing but all thinking related aspects, and affective is nothing but your interest, attitude related aspects. Okay, so questioning is one of the important teaching skills to establish cognitive aspect also and affective rapport or aspect of the aspect with the learners. म्हणजेच काय तर प्रश्नार्थक कौशल्य जे आहे ते मुलांचा बौद्धिक विकास करतं आणि म्हणजे कॉग्निटिव्ह म्हणजे बौद्धिक याचा अर्थ होतो आणि अफेक्टिव्ह म्हणजे मुलांचे बाकीचे जे ॲटिट्यूड आणि इंटरेस्ट म्हणजे त्यांचा दृष्टिकोन, त्यांची आवड या सगळ्या गोष्टींचा सुद्धा प्रश्न कौशल्य विकास करतं. ओके, सो दिस इज एन इम्पॉर्टन्स ऑफ क्वेश्चनिंग स्किल and what to discover what they already know. कुठे कुठे where we can use questioning or questions to discover what they already know. विद्यार्थ्यांना जे ऑलरेडी माहिती आहे ते आपल्याला टीचर म्हणून माहिती करून घेण्याकरता आपण क्वेश्चनिंग स्किल वापरतो. And normally in set induction, which you have learned already, set induction questions are questions of this category. Okay, because set induction is you are just knowing what people know. In set induction, you have not started your teaching. It is a preparatory phase. Set induction is a preparatory phase for teaching. And so in set induction, we ask questions to know what students already know about a particular topic. Second is to maintain their interest and attentions. Then third is to encourage creative thinking on their part. Fourth is to assist them to overcome their learning difficulties. If they have anything, any problems in their learning, they can ask questions or questions can be asked to them to determine the extent to which they have comprehended or assimilated the lessons. Like after teaching,
Excuse
yes.
me, excuse me, ma'am. Ma'am, there are total 7 students who are waiting. They are requesting you to take them in.
Okay, let me see. That's what I did not wanted, but you know. How to take them in? Oh, but it's not admit student. I don't know how to admit them. And that's why during this, I didn't wanted this. How to take them in? Fine. Next time onwards, we are not going to admit you, huh? Please, if you don't join on time. This is breaking and disturbing. Okay. So to determine the extent to which they have comprehended and assimilated the lesson. So after teaching, when we ask them questions, to know whether they have understood what I have taught or whether they have comprehended it or not. So for that, we ask them questions. Then okay, components of questioning skill. Questioning skills के components क्या क्या है? So presenting the question, that is one component. Then structure of a question, that is one component, and probing question is one component. Okay, we will see it in later part. And one of the component and one more component is levels of question. So in these 4 components, what we are going to see is presenting a question, like how to ask a question or where to ask a question. Structure of the question, how should be the structure of the question? I mean the question framing, how the question should be framed. Probing question is how to ask continuous questions, or what should be the order of the questions. And levels of question is the quality of the questions, like lower level, middle level, or higher level questions. Okay, so these 4 are the components of questioning skill, and with regard to these 4 only, we have the sub skills in our uh, tool. Now, structure of a question. Okay, this is now see how the question should be. It should be relevant.
हॅलो मॅम.
Yes.
मॅम ते कंपोनंट्स मराठीमध्ये सांगा ना प्लीज.
मी सांगणार आहे, हे पुढचं आता तेच मराठीमध्ये चालू होणार आहे.
ओके मॅम, थँक्यू.
प्रत्येकाचं एक एक एक्झाम्पल देते आहे. ओके, नाव स्ट्रक्चर ऑफ अ क्वेश्चन म्हणजे प्रश्नाचा आराखडा किंवा प्रश्न कसा असावा याच्याबद्दल आपण बोलतोय. क्वेश्चन शुड बी रेलेव्हंट. ओके, रेलेव्हंटचा दुसरा अर्थ आहे, मी पुढची स्लाइड मराठीमधली घेतलेली आहे रेलेव्हंटला. रेलेव्हंट, स्पेसिफिक, क्लॅरिटी असावी क्वेश्चन मध्ये, स्कोप त्याचा खूप नसावा. देअर शुड बी लिमिटेड स्कोप ऑफ अ क्वेश्चन. Then the question has to be in coherence. Okay, let us see one by one what all these means. Now, relevancy of the question. Now see, these 3 are the questions. These 4 are the questions. What are leadership qualities? Can such qualities be ingrained in a person? What steps can be taken to improve these qualities? And who are leaders? So out of these 4 questions, which one of these questions is irrelevant? Yes? You can give answer in chat. Which question is irrelevant in this? Fine. Question number 4 is irrelevant in this because first 3 questions are talking about leadership qualities. Okay. So these questions can be asked in continuation. But the 4th question, if suddenly I asked in the middle, I mean, what are leadership qualities? Can such qualities be ingrained in a person? And suddenly, if in the middle, who are leaders? If such kind of a question I ask, that question is not relevant. So if you are talking about leadership qualities, then see that all your questions are relevant questions. Please mute yourself, students. Please mute yourself. Follow the discipline. Then next. मराठीमध्येच रेलेव्हंट क्वेश्चनला सुसंगत म्हणायचं असतं. ओके, सुसंगती प्रश्नांमध्ये हवी आहे. आता जसं क्वेश्चन नंबर 1, समुद्र सपाटीजवळ हवा कशी असते? दुसरा प्रश्न, समुद्र सपाटीजवळची काही ठिकाणे सांगा. समुद्र सपाटीपासून उंच हवेत गेल्यास कोणता बदल होतो? आणि तुम्ही सहलीला कुठे जाता? तर यातला कुठला प्रश्न सुसंगत नाही विषयाशी? तर सेम क्वेश्चन नंबर 4, तुम्ही सहलीला कुठे जाता? आता सहलीचा विषय नाहीये चालू. तुम्ही जिओग्राफी शिकवताय, समुद्र सपाटी जवळचं हवा शिकवताय. भलेही समुद्र सपाटीला सहलीला जात असतील, पण तरी सुद्धा आत्ताच्या या क्वेश्चन्स मध्ये पहिले 3 क्वेश्चन सुसंगत आहे, पण चौथा क्वेश्चन जो आहे तो विषयाशी सुसंगत नाही. त्यामुळे असे प्रश्न मध्येच कुठून तरी विचारायचे नाहीत. ओके, नाउ द नेक्स्ट इज क्लॅरिटी ऑफ द क्वेश्चन्स. What are leadership qualities, and for an institution to run, which qualities are required? Now, which of these questions is not clear? So automatically now I am not asking from you the answers because I have a limit of some time. So I'm going ahead. Okay. So out of these 2 questions, what are leadership qualities? This question is vague, because there are n number of leadership qualities we can no or we can tell. Okay, so the question is not clear. Students won't be able to answer for the first question. But for the second question, it is specific and clear instruction is there. So for an institution to run, which qualities are required? So such question like question number 2, like question should be asked because they are clear. क्लिअरचा अर्थ मराठीमध्ये आहे संदिग्ध. प्रश्न संदिग्ध नसावा, त्याचा नेमका अर्थ समजावा. म्हणजेच काय, फॉर एक्झाम्पल, शरीरात रोगजंतूंचा शिरकाव झाल्यास कोणता परिणाम होतो आणि सूक्ष्म जीवांमुळे काय होते. यातला क्वेश्चन नंबर 2 जो आहे तो खूप संदिग्ध आहे. मुलांना कळणार नाही आता काय लिहायचं. सूक्ष्म जीवांमुळे खूप काही काही होतं. ओके, सो नेमकं काय लिहायचं आहे, काय लिहिणं अपेक्षित आहे, काय सांगणं अपेक्षित आहे, हे मुलांना इथे प्रश्न दुसऱ्यामध्ये काहीही कळत नाही. सो क्वेश्चन नंबर 1 कसा आहे, स्पेसिफिक आहे, काय विचारलंय हे नेमकं कळतं आहे त्याच्यामधनं आणि त्यामुळे विद्यार्थी ह्या नेमकं उत्तर देऊ शकतील. त्यामुळे प्रश्न क्रमांक 1 सारखे प्रश्न विचारावे. थर्ड इज स्पेसिफिसिटी. क्वेश्चन स्पेसिफिक असावे. What happens due to microorganisms? What microorganisms do when animals die? And how microorganisms help in conversion of milk into curd? Which of these questions is not specific? First 2 questions are not specific. What happens due to microorganisms? Many things happens due to microorganisms. Okay. What microorganisms do when animals die? So what exactly is their role? Here also there is a lot of role. Okay. But in the, question number 2 order is not there. So question number third question, how microorganisms help in conversion of milk into curd. So what is their role specifically when they convert milk into curd? That is asked. Okay. So question number 4 म्हणजे इथे third order question. Such type of questions are specific questions and such questions should be asked to students. What was the first one? Specific. म्हणजेच इथे अतिव्याप्ती नसावी क्वेश्चनची, म्हणजे खूप मोठा नसावा जिथे मुलांना काही कळणारच नाही. शिवाजी महाराज मोठे का होते? अरे मोठे का होते म्हणजे काय? मोठे का होते याचं उत्तर मी 4 पानं पण लिहू शकते, मी मोठं पुस्तकही लिहू शकते शिवाजी महाराज मोठे का होते, किंवा मी एकच पान उत्तरही लिहू शकते, किंवा मी एक पॅरेग्राफही लिहू शकते. त्यामुळे असे क्वेश्चन्स विचारू नये. मोठे का होते हा प्रश्न चुकीचा आहे विचारलेला. तुम्ही शिवाजी महाराजांचे स्पेसिफिक गुण विचारा. सो शिवाजी महाराजांचे नेतृत्व गुण कोणते? सो इथे व्याप्ती त्या प्रश्नाची जी आहे ती आपण नेतृत्व गुणावर कमी केलेली आहे. ओके. सो जी माहिती तुम्हाला हवी आहे टीचर म्हणून विद्यार्थ्यांकडून, त्या प्रकारे ती माहिती व्यवस्थित प्रश्नामध्ये बसवून तशा प्रकारे प्रश्न विचारावेत. देन प्रश्न शृंखलाबद्ध असावेत, म्हणजेच कोहेरन्स. ओके. सो हाऊ इट शुड बी. सो एका क्वेश्चन मधनं दुसरा क्वेश्चन निघाला. ओके. सी व्हॉट इज द सायंटिफिक मॅनेजमेंट? व्हॉट इज सायंटिफिक मॅनेजमेंट? व्हॉट आर इट्स प्रिन्सिपल्स? अँड स्टेट द ॲडव्हान्टेजेस ऑफ सायंटिफिक मॅनेजमेंट. हे क्वेश्चन्स कसे आहे? फर्स्ट क्वेश्चन नंतर सेकंड क्वेश्चन अँड सेकंड क्वेश्चन नंतर थर्ड क्वेश्चन. So the order of the question, it is continuous. Okay. We cannot ask second question first. I mean, what are its principles? What are scientific management principles? And then second question, what is scientific management? So such kind of questions are wrong questions. So questions should be logically order placed. Okay. सो लॉजिकली ऑर्डर म्हणजे तार्किक दृष्ट्या प्रश्नांची मांडणी केलेली असावी. म्हणजेच प्रश्न कसे असावे ते शृंखलाबद्ध असावे. आता टाइप्स ऑफ क्वेश्चन्स कुठले कुठले आहेत? लेवल्स ऑफ क्वेश्चन्स. सो देर आर 3 लेवल्स ऑफ क्वेश्चन, लोअर, मिडल आणि हायर. जनरली लोअर ऑर्डर क्वेश्चन जे आहेत ते सेट इंडक्शन मध्ये विचारतात. कारण लोअर ऑर्डर क्वेश्चन हे कशावर आधारित असतात? सेट इंडक्शन मध्ये तुम्ही विचारलेले प्रश्न हे कशावर आधारित असतात? तर जे तुम्ही आधी शिकवलंय त्याच्यावर. किंवा नवीन धडा सुरू करणार असाल तर त्या विषयाबद्दल मुलांना ऑलरेडी काय माहिती आहे त्याच्यावर आधारित असतात. सेट इंडक्शन क्वेश्चन्स आर बेस्ड ऑन what students have already learned, or if the topic is new, what students already know about the topic, because students have knowledge of particular topic from various sources. It's not that की तुम्हीच सांगितलं म्हणजेच त्यांना ज्ञान मिळणार आहे. So from society, from their parents, from various media resources, they gain the knowledge. So lower order questions are all such questions which can be asked in set induction. Let us see what is their order. Now this is a triangle of Bloom's taxonomy. Okay. Now knowledge, comprehension, application, analysis, synthesis, and evaluation. This is a cognitive domain of Bloom's taxonomy. Cognitive domain. Okay. So the questions which are at the base, like which are knowledge oriented, म्हणजे फक्त त्यांना काय ज्ञान आहे हे जाणून घ्यायचं असेल, म्हणजे काय माहिती आहे त्यांना हे जाणून घ्यायचं असेल, तो such questions are lower order questions. ओके. सो मग हे कुठल्या प्रकारचे क्वेश्चन्स? सो लिस्ट म्हणजे यादी बनवा, डिफाईन म्हणजे व्याख्या सांगा, किंवा कुठल्या तरी देशाची राजधानी सांगा, टेल. ओके. लेबल म्हणजे एखाद्या डायग्राम दिला आहे तर त्याचे नाव लेबल करा. ठीक आहे. किंवा अगदी इंग्लिश मधलं सुद्धा तुम्ही एखादे उदाहरणं दाखवलेली आहेत तर हे कुठल्या नाऊनचं उदाहरण आहे ते लेबल करा. ओके. अँड नेम. कोणी तुम्ही आता जसं मी सॉक्रेटिसचं पिक्चर दाखवलं आणि विचारलं की हुज पिक्चर इज दिस. सो हे प्युअरली नॉलेज बेस आहे. ज्या लोकांना ह्याचं नॉलेज आहे, माहिती आहे की त्यांनी कधीतरी हे नॉलेज ऐकलेलं आहे, तर असे जे प्रश्न असतील ते लोअर ऑर्डर क्वेश्चन्स असतील. दॅट इज नॉलेज बेस्ड क्वेश्चन्स. आता त्याच्या पुढची पायरीवरची म्हणजे कॉम्प्रिहेन्शन. आता कॉम्प्रिहेन्शन म्हणजे काय? तर त्यांना whether students have understood it. Whatever you have told them, if they have understood, they will be able to describe it, or they will be able to explain it, or they will be able to discuss it, or they will be able to identify something from it. म्हणजे ते त्याच्यावर चर्चा करू शकतील, ते एक्सप्लेनेशन करू शकतील, डिस्क्राईब करू शकतील, स्पष्टीकरण देऊ शकतील, काही गोष्टी ओळखायच्या असतील तर ओळखू शकतील. ही थोडी वरची पायरी आहे कॉम्प्रिहेन्शन. देन त्याच्या वरची पायरी काय आहे? ऍप्लिकेशन. मग ऍप्लिकेशन मध्ये व्हॉट एव्हर नॉलेज दे हॅव गेन्ड, they should be able to apply that knowledge in society or in their real life situations. So normally you give reasons kind of questions जे असतात, they are application based. Then modify. Why modify? Because the same kind of a situation is there, and if you ask them, if you give them different situation, whether they will be able to put that first situation knowledge into second situation or not. Or in maths, solve the example. तुम्ही त्यांना मॅथ्सचं एखादं डेरिव्हेशन शिकवलं आणि फॉर्म्युला डिराईव्ह केला. सो आफ्टर दॅट फॉर्म्युला डेरिव्हेशन मुलं दुसऱ्या उदाहरणामध्ये तो फॉर्म्युला वापरू शकतात का? वेदर दे आर एबल टू अप्लाय दॅट फॉर्म्युला in another example. So these kind of a question. So analysis म्हणजे analyze, separate, वेगळं करा, compare करा म्हणजे तुलना करा, contrast. Then synthesis म्हणजे create or develop a story is a synthesis kind of a question. Then evaluation म्हणजे give your opinion, तुमचं मत सांगा, किंवा एखादी शिकवून झाल्यानंतर summarize the topic. So नॉलेज कॉम्प्रिहेन्शन वरती वरती जसं जाऊ आपण तसे हायर ऑर्डर क्वेश्चन्स आहेत. म्हणजे मी म्हटलं लोअर ऑर्डर, मिडल ऑर्डर अँड हायर ऑर्डर. सो इफ यू कॅन सी कॉम्प्रिहेन्शन आणि ऍप्लिकेशन लेवलचे क्वेश्चन जनरली मिडल ऑर्डर असतात, अँड देन ऍप्लिकेशन पासून पुढे इव्हॅल्युएशन पर्यंत आहे हायर ऑर्डर. सो यू नीड टू आस्क मोर ऑफ मिडल ऑर्डर अँड हायर ऑर्डर क्वेश्चन्स वेर एव्हर पॉसिबल. असं नाहीये की फक्त नॉलेज बेस्ड सोपे सोपे छोटे छोटे प्रश्न विचारले आणि पुढे गेला. ओके. अनदर पार्ट ऑफ क्वेश्चन्स इज क्वेश्चन्सचे दोन प्रकार असतात. इंट्रोडक्टरी क्वेश्चन असतात, म्हणजेच हे सेट इंडक्शन वाले क्वेश्चन्स. इंट्रोडक्टरी क्वेश्चन्स आर set induction questions. Developing questions is when we are teaching students over the course of teaching, in the middle, we are in the middle of the explanation, we ask them questions. So those are developing questions. Recapitulatory questions म्हणजे आपण शिकवून झाल्यानंतर त्यांना कळलंय की नाही हे बघण्याकरता जे वापरतो, those are recapitulatory. So after teaching, recapitulatory questions are asked whether they have understood or not. Evaluating or testing questions. See students, if the meeting ends, you join the same meeting again. Okay. Then next is evaluating or testing questions. That is when these questions, when we take an test or unit test or annual exams, that time whatever questions are asked, those are called as evaluating questions. Another part of questioning or type of questions are coherent questions and divergent questions. Okay. So what is the capital of India? If I ask, there is only one answer to that question. So such questions are convergent questions, which have only one answer. Okay. And such convergent questions are always lower order question, that is knowledge based. But divergent questions which have many answers. And why many answers? Because students will think on their own and then they will tell the answers. So such questions. So what are the uses of this pencil? If I ask, there can be n number of uses. So such questions are divergent questions and such questions are creative questions. So teachers should always ask divergent questions. Of course, convergent questions are also necessary, but they should be in limited number. Then do's and don'ts of questioning. Use a wide variety of questions and more of higher level and middle order. Use appropriate wait time. After asking question, just wait for 1 minute. Because after asking questions, students are thinking. Okay, आपल्याला असं वाटतं की they don't know the answer and that is why we only tell the answer. So don't do that like that. After asking question, wait for some time. Give students a chance to think. Questions should be relevant, specific, clear, that we have seen. Ask open-ended questions. Open-ended questions are nothing but divergent questions. Okay. And close-ended, which have one answer, convergent question. Don'ts. Avoid using yes and no type questions. Okay. So, are you all happy if I ask such question? What is your answer? Yes. Okay. So these are divergent questions. Okay. This doesn't give more information. Okay. So if you can ask such question once or twice, are you all happy? Yes. Why? Ask them. Why are you all happy? Everyone will give separate answer. So that will lead to more information. Avoid use of rhetorical questions. म्हणजे right? Don't you? Okay. Okay. Yes. Yes, students. आपण असे बोलतो नेहमी. So such correct? Am I correct? These are called as rhetorical questions. Okay. Which normally teachers use while explaining a concept or while teaching in the classroom. So that is because teacher has got used to it or because she doesn't know what to talk ahead. So that small pause is taken and that small pause is converted into right, okay, or correct kind of a thing. Okay. So such questions should not be asked. Then this is a tool which questioning has got. Let us, I will just stop here. You again join the same link and then we will continue. Okay. Don't go. Okay. I will tell you when to go, where to leave. So this is a questioning skill. Sub skills are there, and this will be provided. I think Vishaka madam has provided you in a PDF. Okay, now see what are those sub skills. So while planning a lesson, you have to keep in mind that all these 10 things should be there in a 5 minutes lesson plan. Now, जो आप क्वेश्चनिंग का लेसन प्लान बनाओगे उसमें आपका सेट इंडक्शन का जज नहीं किया जाएगा. क्वेश्चनिंग का खाली ये 10 चीजें यानी 8 ही चीजें, because 9th and 10th are common one. So your question while planning a lesson It should be clear and concise. Then grammatically correct होना चाहिए question. It should be thought provoking. Questions should be thought provoking. Always higher order questions are thought provoking questions. Okay, or middle order also are thought provoking questions. Lower order questions are also needed to start the topic, to know the previous knowledge, to start the topic, or to prepare the students for teaching and learning. Lower order questions are necessary. Then number 4 is logical sequence of the question, coherence. Okay, so lower order should be in the starting, then automatically while explaining it should lead to middle order, and then finally application based questions, higher order questions. Okay, then inclusion of lower, middle and higher order questions. So all in 5 minutes lesson plan, all the 3 levels of questions should be there. So maybe 2 lower order questions you can include, then 2 middle order questions you can include, 3 middle order questions, and then 1 or 2 higher order questions in 5 minutes lesson plan. Then clarity in asking questions should be there. It should be clearly asked. It should not be vague. Ati vyapta nasava, vyavasthit asava. Then interrogative tone. Have you understood what I am telling you right now in questioning skill? So while asking question, we have a typical tone. We ask it in typical tone. So that is interrogative tone and properly distributed in class. खाली सामने बैठे बच्चों को नहीं पूछना है, पीछे बैठे हैं वो सब बच्चों को. So your question should be distributed all over the class. And then time management, क्योंकि in micro teaching we are just planning a lesson for 5 minutes, so it should be timely managed. And then overall effectiveness, कि आप वो कैसे लेते हो, questioning skill. So this was all about questioning skill. In next class, when we will discuss, I will show you a demo video. And then, so while in demo video, you all will be watching all these sub skills, because उसके बारे में हम लोग बाद में discussion करेंगे. Okay, and number 5, inclusion of lower, middle and higher order questions, so that you will note down in the demo video. Okay, कि कितने कौन सा question was lower order, कौन सा question was middle order and higher order. Okay, now I will stop this and you join again.